Let's go. All right. We're looking at Monero today. Let's just get a fresh chart here. And it's looking great. Let's go to the monthly first. Let's just get out of here. All right. So I had a great December, having another great month, especially kind of relative to the market. Bitcoin has been, going sideways for the last 2 months. ETH down. Ripple's been doing great. Monero's been doing, Stellar's having a good rebound. But if we look at some of the other cryptos, a red December for a lot of them. And here with Monero, we had a really great month, and it's looking to follow through here. You can also see it with the moving averages when I put the daily on the daily time frame. I mean, we're above all the moving averages, which Bitcoin's below the 50 and the 30, ETH below a few. XRP is above after yesterday, and so is Stellar. So those are the three best ones. Who would have thought? But here we're looking at Bitcoin Cash. You can see some of the moving averages are above the price. So that's just something to consider here as we talk about, relative strength to the crypto market. I mean, I don't. Again, my 3 top coins this cycle are Monero, Ripple, Stellar. Some of the dinos, resurgence of the dinos. I guess it's the return of success is our revenge. So let's go. All right, enough of that. Really, let's get into Monero. So it's been really stagnant for the past 3-4 weeks now, almost going on a month. We have this kind of range with about 206. That's kind of my line in the sand or whatever to higher prices. At first it was, we had some of these closes back in early January that were looking pretty promising, but we could never get that follow through to this 220 level, which I thought it would get back up to and kind of pits around, whatever you want to say. But because we have all this congestion here for, again, I think it's essentially 23 days now. I think it's going to go up to here, and it's not really going to provide much resistance. Maybe a day or two. So I'm looking for a follow through here. Today's Sunday. Anytime really. This thing could really just rip. I just really think it could rip. Looking at the weekly, we have, again, I was really bullish on this candle back in December. Then we had a pretty rough one. We have 2 inside candles with 1 outside candle, and then it looks like we're getting another outside candle. This thing is just wild. I think it's going to rip higher and not stop anytime soon. Yeah, personally, I'm just always a little too early in my anticipation, but luckily hasn't cost me anything. So that's the important thing, right? So, yeah, I'm pretty long here. Again, we're working on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks above the 200-week moving average, which is great. We've never got that many consecutive, weeks since back in 2023, so 2 years ago. And just with the way this is looking, it looks like to be supported. The 20 looks to be heading for a cross. Yeah, just looks great. Let's see. So when we do go down to the daily, some of the other kind of metrics I'm looking at that are great is that CMF is showing a lot of buying here. This is on a 4 hour. So you know, RSI, MACD breaking out. They look good on the daily also. I mean, here the MACD looks like it's crossing. It's already in the bullish area. So this looks pretty good. RSI as well, getting above 60 would be nice. I haven't been above 60 since, early December, mid-December. Just a lot of good stuff happening here. Especially, well, let's look at it against Bitcoin. So let's go to the daily. Daily against Bitcoin, this just looks absolutely beautiful. If we go back to the weekly, here we kind of have some sort of a double bottom action going. And, Monero has been an underperforming asset for sure this bull run. But this past month, it's been outperforming and really holding its gain, whereas a lot of the other cryptos have given back a lot. So I really like this action, especially once we get above this 200-day moving average against Bitcoin. I think it's just going to skyrocket, kind of like we saw in Stellar and Ripple in November. So I'm pretty excited about that. 4 hour also looking great. Just looks like it wants to go higher, and in a hurry when it does eventually go higher. Here's kind of a beautiful trend line too. If we break down, then I'd reconsider some of my thoughts, but I don't think there's anything to worry about right now. And I think it's time to, if you want to be long this asset, it's considering above at these levels is pretty interesting. The other biggest thing that was my biggest concern, but has turned into has really subsided, is the selling in the order book. So if we go to the spot, I mean, this was the biggest thing I was just concerned about. I thought it was ready to go at any moment, and this was the thing that was holding me back. You see all this sell pressure, and now for a few days we're not seeing that anymore. Is there a little popping up right now? So that's huge. I mean, we had to get that out of the way. I didn't know these are sometimes, this is like a fifth option kind of technical analysis thing. I keep an eye on it, but I don't base too much weight on it. I just, okay, that's interesting. So, but again, we had seen a lot of sell pressure in December, and it acted as it did hold the price back. So as you can kind of see, we're starting to get more green here. It's against Bitcoin, and then just against the US dollar, it's subsiding here. So that's beautiful. I think this thing's ready to rip for those reasons. I'm trying to think if I have anything else. I guess that might be it. I mean, again, I think above this 206, it's just gonna, it should climb pretty easily. Another 5 to 10%, and then just blast off. The move is, if you have this rectangle, it's not a huge move that it's calling for. $90 move. That's not a lot. So into the 275s area. I think that's the start. I don't think this is going to be too much resistance. So I think it's going to get into this $400 range relatively quickly as we begin to break these weekly candles. Once we get up to this 230 range, it's like, what's going to be holding it back from there? We had a pullback in the market, and that could, of course, that's something that could always happen. But Monero is actually like one of the least correlated assets with any other of the cryptocurrencies, which is kind of nice. They all go together, of course, but it's an interesting thought to see. If you look at, I like to go over here. I like to just sometimes when I'm looking at stuff, just to see which coins are similar to it and then kind of check them out. Zcash is known as being correlated with it in a way because they're both privacy coins. They're the top two. But this is a really low number. And actually, Litecoin is the most best match. But these are really low numbers. If we let's look at Litecoin, for instance. This is supposed to be the most correlated for Monero with it. And look at what's correlated with Litecoin. Let's see. You're getting 6.4 and you're getting many examples. So just that 5.7, that's a really low number for the correlation with the other cryptocurrencies. So I think that's interesting. Here's Ripple, and we have Cardano at 6.7, Bitcoin 6.6. So I really just think that's interesting. I don't think it can go without the market, but it is one of the least correlated assets, and it's been outperforming Bitcoin here since November, which most of them have, but just recently it's much stronger than, say, Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Now XRP and Stellar still look pretty good, but I think it's time, just based on this. This resistance level and how beautiful it kind of looks is just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another 5 in there, and it looks like we're breaking out right now. Might be premature, and this thing has been pretty feeling like it wants to break out and then not. Obviously, two big times here. So, there's the one thought that, it could happen again. The other thought is, go bigger, go bigger. I think that's kind of my strategy right here. But I would definitely like to see it above 206. That's kind of my next level. But I'm pretty long here. And I think you could, I have a few different stop losses based on my margin positions, but I have, I'm about 50-50, half in spot, where I'm not too worried. The downside does not scare me too much. And I feel like it would be pretty obvious to where, you take the loss, but it would be pretty obvious. So we have this, I think, 58 days trend line, which is, a close below this trend line would might close definitely my margin positions, but I wouldn't even be too concerned with my spot long until it got below, that 160. I don't want to see it get below 165. Definitely not. I don't even want to see it get below 180. I think we're ready to go, but I'm just kind of saying worst case scenario, worst case scenario is obviously we break this and we go down, but look, you're just the metrics look really strong here. And yeah, so today it's up 3%. I mean, I think it's breaking out as we speak. I mean, again, this was huge, huge. Just that we're not seeing a bunch of red sell pressure, and I think that kind of came from a lot of the delistings. I think some of these exchanges were just selling it at these orders because they had to, or they don't have it anymore. They're not offering it. What's the point? But I mean, even just today, it's like, oh, it broke out, retested this area, and appears to want to go higher. And I mean, just based on the chart, I think it could go up in a hurry. I mean, it hasn't been, but I think it. This is pretty beautiful. What I'm seeing. Just take a quick look at Ripple. Trump comes in office in 8 days. Brad Garlinghouse is taking pictures with him. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? Let's go. Daly had a beautiful day yesterday. So that was huge. I'm not expecting this to, I mean, it could go anytime. I'm not expecting this, next week. Let's just say maybe 2 weeks, this thing to go, but it could happen anytime because the momentum is just on our side. I mean, this is a clear uptrend, consolidation at the top. I mean, it could just go because it has the momentum. Interestingly, I did see a lot of sell pressure last night when it was going up. See, so here's Ripple. This was last night. And so we're having a pullback. So it's not concerning because it's just not that much. Some people are taking profit or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But even on Bitcoin, I'm seeing some. So, I just don't, I guess all I'm saying is I don't expect Ripple to be going up to new all-time highs anytime soon. But I could be wrong. I could totally be wrong. Stellar. We're getting a nice little pop right here. Stellar's just been consistently getting bought up. I think it could just steal the show from Ripple somehow. I mean, I'm still slightly more long Ripple than Stellar, but I just, but also, you see, once you read the chart and you do start to see this asset where just any little red showing up here has pushed the price down, and all the green, it can get a lot of buy pressure and not move up. So you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. I know a lot of people, wow, Bitcoin, nice 15-minute. I know a lot of people are, expecting Bitcoin to kind of break down from these levels because of, that's pretty, there it is, Look at these. We hit it, 1, 2, 3, 4. It comes down here again. It's, you got to expect it to break, and that could really take us down, another 10%, which that's not terrible for Bitcoin, but these other coins are not gonna, that's going to be a 25% move in a lot of these other coins. So we'll keep an eye on that. Ethereum looks tough as well. Clearly a lower high. We don't have a lower low yet, but so I guess that's the biggest question mark, is just, can Bitcoin rally, get above 100 again, 102, 103,000? That would really help Monero and Ripple and Stellar, of course, but the chart maybe says, hold your horses, but then we're getting all this buying, which we have not had much of it. And when we do have it, it usually does push the price higher. when we were in the 100s at the first time, and even 107, there's so much sell pressure, and it was, pushing the price down, but not really. And now it's much more. We're seeing a lot more green buying here, so I think it looks pretty good. I guess we're in a stage where we're just cautiously optimistic, which I think is good. You know, once you start, I also think, once you're thinking, oh, how much money you have in a certain asset in dollars, you're still early in the bull market. In a way, early is relative. I just mean we're not there yet at the top or anything, but I remember it's when you start thinking, how many Ethereum do I have? How many Bitcoin do I have? And you start pricing stuff in your head in crypto, that's kind of a sign. So yeah, Monero, as someone said, you may send. So I'm excited here. Let's see if Monero can really rip higher. Nobody's talking about it, which is great. Again, nobody was talking about Ripple a lot of the diehards were talking about Ripple, but nobody else was really talking about Ripple in early November, and then everybody's talking about it, late November after the $2 price increase, essentially. Still not too many people are talking about Stellar, but they go hand in hand. And if you look at XLM, I think sometimes it defaults to Ripple at number 3. If you look at it's correlated to Ripple, I think it is XRP. So it's a little different, but yeah, that's all I got, I guess. Yeah, Monero looks great. Let's go. Peace.